go. Oh, this has got half battery. That should last us right.
Hope so.
Hello and welcome back to the Villa podcast. I'm here with my good friend Dan Wiseman. How you doing, Dan?
All good, you mate. How you
Good
feeling?
man, good man. You know, we sounded good on the last podcast, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Hopefully we sound just as good today.
Yeah, we're going to give a special shout out to Mike,
Shout out to Mike.
who's the tech that helps us set up all of this. Came in today and it was already set up. Feels very professional at the moment, doesn't it, mate?
I mean, it feels like we've got a team, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
It's going up in the
a
world.
little ensemble, haven't we?
Yeah, if only
Just
the
wait
Villa
till we
could be
graduate.
performing as well. But
Wow, that's a whole other story, isn't it, mate?
All together, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we're in the we're obviously in this winter break, and
Mhm.
it's kind of weird, isn't it, not having to worry about any football this weekend unless you advanced in the FA Cup and forced to replay.
Somewhat refreshing.
Yeah,
I
it is, isn't
suppose,
it? Yeah. How do you feel about the winter breakdown? Like, because it's certainly been the topic of Twitter, because we ain't got the players to complain about, have we, on the pitch? So I guess we've got to complain about what they do off the pitch.
Yeah, it's something that has obviously been a topic of discussion for quite a long time. Something that's obviously been implemented in Europe, and I think we're seeing certainly the players. We've seen them get away, making us feel very inadequate, obviously, physically.
Shout
But
out to
no,
Tyrone.
they just look like they're having a good time, and there can be so much doom and gloom associated with this club, and we saw in the week with Leicester and Bournemouth how quickly the highs can become lows. And it is nice for the players to be able to get away, refresh, take a little break from things, and hopefully they can come back re-energised, feeling recharged. I think it's nice to see that Ty and Jack went away together.
Yeah.
As it's nice to see that, although they're not necessarily spending as much time on the training pitch, they're still together, and it shows that we've got that team spirit. The players in their own time are actively choosing to still spend time on one another. It shows that there's a lot of good relationships in this squad. And a lot of good photo opportunities too. Oh
Mate, just jealous. I mean, McGinn was there as well. We can't forget that.
Yeah, of course.
No, it's nice to see, and I mean, I was scrolling through Twitter the other day actually, and I believe it was an interview with Duncan Ferguson, and he said he doesn't believe in it because he's like, well, the fans can't go away. I mean, privileged fans can, I guess. But I kind of agree with it in that sentiment. But the players deserve a break. I mean, it's a long, hard fixture list, and I think, especially in English football, we're very quick to criticise, our players and stuff. But look at the likes of Kieran Trippier, had a phenomenal World Cup and never recovered because he went from playing football to then straight into a tournament, straight into a pre-season tour.
Yeah,
like there's no reason why.
When he's now injured.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
That says all you need to know.
So, I don't really have a problem with it because if at the end of the day, you want your players to be performing at the absolute pinnacle, and you can say what you want about the Christmas fixtures, because it is a part of English football tradition.
Yeah.
But they deserve the break after a long running.
Yeah, especially and especially with the Euros coming up this summer, it's one of those where if England do go on and have a good run, or whatever country, and suddenly this 2-week break, if we get to a semi-final or a final in the summer, looks completely. I can't imagine anyone's got a problem with it. So it's one of those where I think we'll see the benefits of this later on in the season, and especially for a club like ourselves, who, the running looks so important. And literally, to the last game of the season being West Ham away, it's important that we are able to go until that final game at full intensity, being able to play and keep training at a high level, that we don't have players that are tiring, because that last game of the season, if we can take a little bit of time now, and it ensures that the players have got a little bit more legs, have got that extra bit of extra yard of pace, which you sometimes see lacking towards the end of the season. You can see the players that start to lag, and if that means that I actually saw, I think it was Sky Sports did a graphic of the clubs that benefit most from the winter break, so who have got the most days off, so to speak. And I think we've got about 15, which is joint second most in the league compared to other clubs. So we're certainly benefiting from it. I see a lot of clubs like West Ham, Bournemouth, only get about 12 or 13. So we're getting extended break more than the other clubs around us. And you hope that when everyone comes back around and we're back in training, that we can respond well in that Spurs game to what was not a great performance down on the South Coast.
It wasn't, mate. I think we should touch on it, actually, because I know it's been a while. The dust's probably settled on it, but it was nothing less than shocking, was it? And I don't want to say I wasn't expecting it, but I think, you know, when you come off a high like you said off the Leicester game, you kind of expect the lads to put something in, and we looked void of all sort of confidence. Like by Bournemouth, who haven't won in like 7, I believe it was, and I'm pretty sure they got done 3-0 the week before, and I mean Callum Wilson hadn't scored a goal since October, you said in the last podcast, so I was shell shocked, mate, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it was. It's concerning, mate, because it's the first of many games we've had this season against teams around us whereby we just seem to have no clear game plan. And look, I'm not, you know, this isn't to sound, you know, as drastic as it might, but Dean has got a lot of sympathy, I feel, over the season, because he's a Villa fan, and I think that has certainly helped him. I feel like any other manager would be receiving a lot more criticism, and I think the Villa fans quite rightly stand by him, and we've seen how good we can be at times, but just really poor coaching, because the players went out there and we just didn't really seem to have any game plan, to be honest with you. And there's a couple of quite interesting things that I picked up on, kind of stats and facts wise. So Samagol's header was the first headed goal we'd scored in the Premier League.
That's crazy, mate.
Since Kieran Clark against Watford in April 2016.
Oh my God.
I know. Can you believe that?
That was the last game of the season, right?
Yeah. And that was the last headed goal we scored in the Premier League. We've seen our opponents pick up 6 red cards in the Premier League this season. That's more than any other side. So we've had the opportunity of playing against 10 men more than any other team in the division. And it's just another time where we failed to capitalise on that. You know, 60% possession. We had 8 corners compared to Bournemouth's 1. And we lost the game 2-1.
It all came in the second half, didn't it? Which was, you know, when they had the man sent off, Philip Billing got sent off.
Jefferson Lerma.
Lerma, of course, yeah, no, walking red card he is, isn't he? I mean, as soon as he took Grealish down the first time, you thought he's getting sent off.
Well, yeah, I saw it cut to him in the first half, and it was reminiscent of a game that I can't remember. It was United-Chelsea a few years ago, and I remember Ander Herrera was stuck on Eden Hazard and followed him everywhere, and there was this camera shot in the first half, and it literally just showed Jefferson Lerma following Grealish everywhere, and I turned to second shout out in 2 weeks for Elliot Lewis. I turned to Elliot Lewis on the sofa and I said, he's going to get sent off. You can't man mark Jack Grealish that tightly. Like, you will foul him more than twice and you will get sent off.
He went through him as well, and on the very first opportunity. Now I'm all for letting people know you're there, but there was no need.
Christ. Yeah, and this is what I mean, is that the second yellow card is dubious, you know, to say the least. And it's one of those where it's not a dive from Jack. It's clever. You know, he kind of wraps his left leg around him and pulls Lerma down, who in turn brings Jack down. But it's one of those where I think if Grealish skips by Lerma there and goes past him, then Lerma brings him down anyway. And so I think whatever happens in that situation, the second yellow card is coming, especially because it was basically on the edge of the area.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those where, you know, it's slightly dubious. And I saw Eddie Howe talking to Jack pretty soon after on the touchline, and Eddie Howe was certainly making a case for his player. But it's one of those where, given the nature of Jack Grealish, he's been fouled 111 times in the Premier League this season. He's the only player in triple figures, I think, in Europe's top 5 leagues. And so, you know, I think if he skips past Lerma there, I think he's getting brought down anyway. But yeah, just something I want to touch on before we move on, thankfully, from the Bournemouth game. 2 goals from set pieces, mate.
Again,
Not directly, but
as a result of poor marking.
Yeah, especially, and you know, especially with the Ake goal, with the Billing one, it's Nakamba that lets him drift. I saw you tweet about it. John Terry. Yeah. Surely, this is his bread and butter, coaching teams to defend set pieces. You know, as you don't have to be a necessarily good defender to defend set pieces. No. You just need to be well drilled, know how to mark, and just clear the ball at the first available opportunity. What do you think is the problem at the moment there?
It's I got in a shout out to Ollie. Ollie actually called me out for that. He's like, "Oh, well, no one knows what they do on the training ground." I'm like, "Well, that's kind of we're supposed to see that on the pitch, Ollie." So if you're listening, mate, sorry, but you're wrong. It's basic. You learn that from a very young age, how to defend corners and stuff. You know, I'm talking not like probably like under 12s is when the tactical side of the game comes into it. And you know, and I know you were a goalkeeper yourself, so I can imagine, you know, you were always you know, making sure your defenders were in the right position, and I was always, you know, on the strikers or whatever. Certainly, you know, when I was playing Sunday League, so I don't understand. But one thing that Ollie did say was, well, everyone who's worked with JT is always given a glowing report, and you know what, that's great. If I was with John Terry, I wouldn't say a bad word about him, even if he was bad. It's because he's John Terry. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't really know. I mean, because he came, when he played, he had an instant impact, and you could see as well that I think the players, like the defenders, benefited from him being there and just learning from him on the training pitch. But it seems to be these set pieces that let us down. Like, we've conceded so many set piece goals, and the thing is, I don't want to be like, oh, like if, but maybe. We've conceded. This isn't a real statistic, but I'm assuming like half of our goals this season have been from set pieces. I think that's a fair thing. And the thing is, they're totally avoidable. Like, there is no way you should be conceding from a set play.
Well, yeah, this is what's frustrating, mate. And I'm going to bring it back to the stat I mentioned just a few minutes ago about red cards and the fact that we've seen more than any other team. There have been so many times. Look, mate, I'm not delusional. Like, I have left Villa Park on occasions, and I've just been like, you know what, like kind of like the Liverpool game, you know, at Villa Park, the League One, whereby you come out of that and you go, that's just an exceptional footballing side that just battle until the final whistle. We gave our all. You come away from that thinking the lads did all that they could. Yeah. Just one of those days where, you know, we couldn't get over that last hurdle. Fair enough. But there are so many games this season whereby we've played a side with 10 men and we've conceded from set-piece goals, and you feel like these are things which could so easily have been different. And, you know, if we picked up points in these games where we've played against 10 men, or we stopped conceding even, you know, a third of the goals that we've conceded from set pieces, the league table would look so different. You know, the West Ham game at home earlier in the season, when I believe they went down to 10 as well. All it takes is a goal in that game, and 3 points in this table. It looks ridiculous. You know, we have more wins this season than Arsenal.
It's mad, isn't it?
Which is a crazy statistic.
Yeah. And we couldn't even beat them.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've got one less win than Wolves. I think we've got one less win than Sheffield United, who are sat in the European places. It's just how many games where we've played against 10 and we've drawn, we've conceded sloppy set-piece goals. And it's put us in the position that we're in, and you can't help but feel if we were just perhaps a bit better drilled at the back and could take advantage of a 10-man side, then we wouldn't have to be worrying about a relegation battle this season.
Do you think Reina could have done better for the first goal?
I think
it's an awkward one, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not actually going to say he could have done better for the first goal. I think he could have done better for the second goal, especially. The first one is, you know, I think it's one of those where, yeah, he gets a hand to it, and I think a goalkeeper of Pepe Reina's pedigree will be slightly disappointed. You know, that I think any goalkeeper, if you get a hand to a shot, then you could have felt as though it could have been.
You've done your job, essentially.
Exactly. But I think for the first goal, there's players you can blame more for that goal. I think it's Courtney that could do a little bit better in closing the cross down. Nakamba just lets Billing drift off him and put it past him. And so there's a couple of players which I think are more at fault than Reina. But for the second goal, he needs to push that wide. He pushes it straight back out in front of him, straight to the feet of Ake, who is completely unmarked. Yeah. You know, even when Harry Wilson was taking the original free kick, there's Jack, there's Target, they're both marking, and then in about 5 yards off the two of them is Nathan Ake stood by himself, who is potentially, apart from Billing, the tallest player in that Bournemouth side. Just inexcusable, mate. And it's these things which you kind of look at, and you know, I watched the game back this morning to kind of unfortunately refresh the memory, and it's just so frustrating to watch these things, because you just, all it takes is one player to switch on, and potentially that's where Jack Grealish, not as what you would call an old-fashioned leader, you know, what we have probably considered as a captain. You know, Jack Grealish leads by example as opposed to kind of by pure leadership.
That's
strategies.
a whole other debate, that.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of feel that if Jack was a more authoritative figure, then those things get picked up. But I'm not blaming Jack for that. It's just annoying that you watch these things and you're almost screaming at the screen, thinking, just mark him, just pick him up. All you got to do is look to your left, he's right there. But these things continue to frustrate us, mate, and I imagine they will do for the season because it doesn't look like we're going to get them cleared up anytime soon. But we have to try and do something to stop these sloppy goals going in.
I think the problem is we're relying too much on the teams we're playing just being completely inept half the time.
Yeah.
Because I think if you look at some games where there's potentially a result there. Maybe Arsenal were shocking, but it was a stupid free kick we give away for them to which Aubameyang magnificently scored. Can't take anything away from that, but it's. When we've put in these big performances, I mean, Liverpool. I was watching Liverpool, and I thought for the first hour, I was like, this isn't the Liverpool that I've been told are the greatest thing since sliced bread. But then you see how they battle and they just keep going. Like it was ugly, but they kept going. Even Man City, the home leg, the first home game.
Yeah.
I didn't think Man City were. Sorry, the away game. What am I talking about? The away game at the Etihad. I didn't think City were that great.
Well, I think
at all.
No, at half time. Wasn't it? Did we go in level?
And then score straight away from Sterling winning a header on Mings.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that happen?
Well, again, these are the things whereby
it's little freaks, isn't it?
Yeah, just like little examples of things that we do just need to kind of clear up on, and we've seen how good we can be at points this season. I think this is why it's so frustrating, because the potential is there. I think there's a real. I want to know what's going on between Dean and Horahan, because we haven't seen Connor in 4 or 5 games now, and there was a couple of chances that fell to Nakamba in the last game on the edge of the area on his left foot, 2 of them, and both of them, and you think, if that's 2-1 and we're chasing the game, if that falls on Conor Horahan's left foot, is one of them not a goal, or at least a shot? And you kind of think that whereby I think we only ended up making 2 subs in that game, and note for positivity, I suppose, is that hopefully we will see a front 2. I thought Davis and Samatta looked good together. I think that we can certainly see that more this season. It was good to see Keinan back out on the pitch, but. Yeah, and I think there's talks in the work of potentially handing Keinan a new deal.
Is there? He's up in the summer, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, so we hopefully we extend that contract, because he looked lively, and I think unfair to touch on Bournemouth without talking about Samatta's goal. Keinan played a big part in that. It's his shot which gets deflected, loops up in the air, and Sama very bravely, I might say, he jumps right in there, especially when Engels had been received one from Ramsdale. Which again is a
whole other thing, man. I don't think we can even go into that.
Don't. No. And it's very brave. It puts his head right up amongst it, gets there before the keeper. And I thought it was a quite impressive full debut from Samatta.
Yeah, I think he worked the lines very well. Putting pressure on. I think I mentioned after the Leicester game as well on the podcast that he takes the centre halves with him, because he's an actual striker. He knows what to do, and he's creating space for the people. A front 2 could work, but obviously, I think we'll touch on it. Keinan Davis did get injured in the an under-23s game, which is a bit bizarre. Only 48 hours after he played. He's made of paper. Like you've got to look after these people, haven't you?
Crazy.
Considering he just come back from injury, I feel, to be honest, he probably deserves a deal based on the fact they've forced him to play this game.
Yeah.
And they've injured him. I think Villa owe him that. To be perfectly honest, whether you think he's good enough or not, because I know a lot of people don't. That's a whole other thing. You can't just release him in the wild like that.
We're starting to gain a habit of just ruining players, on an injury front. I saw there was a tweet made by Chester, and I think he played 111 straight games for Villa, playing through injuries and stuff like that. And we do have a history of, especially with players' rehabs and stuff like that. I mean. Libor Kozak, who we bought from Lazio, is now playing in the Czech league.
That's a disgrace, isn't it, man?
We kept him up for 2 years with that injury, because we kept forcing the injury. We just couldn't get him fit, and we sold him for tuppence, and now he's squandering it in a domestic league. Playing for Sparta Prague, I think, and these are just players whereby there seems to be, whatever the management regime. I'm unsure if the fitness the physios and stuff like that are the same as they've always been since those days. I don't know, but it's a consistent problem at this club.
It is, and especially when you've got Christian Purslow on Villa TV, which I only signed up for the other night actually, so as I could watch that interview. They need to do some work on that service. I couldn't find the interview for half an hour. Watching the same 10-second clip of him talking about like the services, whatever. But with Purslow talking about how so much investment's going in off the pitch with Bodymore and stuff like that, you just find it hard to believe that players can. Yeah. The rehab is just terrible.
Yeah,
I mean. And there's on Liebor, Kieran Clark broke his leg in training. Was that under Lambert?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It snapped his femur, I think, in a training session.
Mate, what are they doing?
Well, I think that was the Roy Keane era.
That would make sense.
All makes sense now, does
Roy
it?
Keane.
When you look at Lambert and Keane, you can understand why maybe we've got
fellow Irishman as well.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But yeah, it's crazy, and just on that Purslow interview, it is clear to see how much investment's going into the club. You can see certainly off the pitch that we're making strides. The women's team are doing exceptionally this season.
Yeah, amazing. They're 13 unbeaten, is it?
Yeah, and I do think this is something that we need to give a little bit more light on, and I think certainly as the voice of the fans and stuff like that, I think these girls need a huge amount of credit because they're doing a lot better than the fellas are doing right now.
Yeah, shout out to the Villa ladies.
Absolutely, they're absolutely killing it. And yeah, it's just things like that we're starting to see this club go. I mean, I've been lucky enough. I've been down to Bodymore. I've seen the developments. They've separated the youth from the first team.
It's
now.
Interesting that.
Yeah, so there's a whole new building now whereby the players and the first team and all the youth sides are kept completely separately, where it all used to be completely integrated. The reasonings for that I'm not too sure upon, but the facilities that they've built for the youth sides are magnificent. I don't know the stadium that they've built, the small stadium. It's only got a stand, but you can get hot food there, hot drinks. There's concession
I feel like we need
stands.
to go do a video on that.
Yeah, 100%.
We need to get down to a game.
100%. There's a press area there. Well, there's a press bench, it's a really great facility. Bodymore Heath is a small city now. It's huge. They've built so much land. There's there's talk of them putting in like the traffic lights. There's roundabouts. It's got its own road network, mate. It's absolute. They've bought so many new acres. The whole HS2 thing has allowed them to really have a play with Bodymore and redevelop it. And they've bought so much land. It's crazy. We've got an absolute plethora of pitches. Some not to the same level that the City had, where they've got a pitch for every team in the Premier League, but we've got different types of pitches, different length of grass, different types of grass. Obviously you've got one sown with turf, depending on who you're playing against. And it's crazy to see how it looks a bit like a building site at the moment.
Still very much under construction.
Yeah, absolutely. There's
work being done.
Mud and concrete and stuff, and there's cement mixers everywhere. But when it's done, mate, it's going to be quite the sight. And I'd recommend getting down to that under 23 side. I haven't actually been to see a game there yet. I've only been down when there's not a game on, and I do need to get down to see the 23s. I saw they quite a Villa thing. So we take Baggy's head of the academy, Mark. We take him. We take West Brom's best academy prospect, buying back from Barca, and then lose 1-0 to West Brom. Yeah, in the academy. So,
and Keinan Davis gets injured.
So it's nice to see that we maintain consistency, if nothing else. But yeah, that is a real sign for positivity, and it was interesting to hear Christian touch on that.
It was, I think. When it's not going well on the pitch, you've got to bring it back to some positives. But no, it's good to see, and Bodymore. If you ask, anyone who knows, or who's in the football industry and knows this stuff, knows that Bodymore was a state-of-the-art facility. So I can't even imagine what it would look like now. And it's one of them ones that you've either got to be lucky enough to get invited down, whatever, or you can go and see what you can with the new academy stadium, which is great. I think it brings a new audience, I guess. Yeah. And get the young lads used to playing in front of crowds, because getting to Warsaw is a bit of a nightmare. And
exactly, and it's nice that they've got a permanent home, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they'll enjoy that, and it must be surreal for for Dean to see this as well, this transformation for what he was seeing at Walsall and then Brentford to come to Villa and have cities like that. He must absolutely love that. But touching on some of the young lads as well, Jacob Ramsey, scoring on his debut, a brace, almost got a hat trick for Doncaster Rovers, League One. Dream debut.
Great goal, great set, a great week all round for the Ramsey family. His younger brother Aaron played with Louis in the England setup together. They both started the other day, so congratulations to both of those guys. It's really interesting. The goal that I want to touch on most was the second one, which was the header. Little
lad as well, isn't he?
Jesus Christ! I saw him going into the box. I was like, no, surely not. This is
Is he going for a bicy?
I was like, what's he going to do here? But he puts that header away brilliantly, and Cal O'Hare getting the assist as well for the goal that knocks out the Blues. Unfortunately, didn't in the end, didn't they? I think
they won on pen, because they scored like a minute later, didn't they?
I thought they'd knocked out the Blues.
So did I. I texted my dad. I was like, "O'Hare's knocked out the Blues," and then I woke up the next morning and saw the Blues went through. I was like, "Oh god!"
I think most of the Blues fans had left before they got to pens anyway. To be honest with you, so I think half of them probably still think they've been knocked out. But no, it's really interesting when you see, and it's why I think it's slightly unfortunate for Keinan, because I really want to see him go out on loan. I think it would be really. I think to go to a championship club, play regular football,
to score goals,
get some goals under his belt, man. Like
he's not a goal scorer.
He scored like 2 or 3 goals in his professional career, and he's a really good player. And I really like his all-round game.
Yeah.
I think his hold-up play, when I've seen him and Wesley play, his hold-up play looks more accomplished and more relaxed, and certainly more refined than Wesley's hold-up play. So I think he's a great hold, but he just hasn't got that goal-scoring instinct. And I think if we had the luxury of another I suppose we'll see Borja Baston. Hopefully sometime
we should
soon.
Touch on that actually.
This is a player that has signed and almost been forgotten about, because we did something against. Hopefully we see him. And I think Keinan would really benefit from a loan to a championship side whereby he can just get some goals under his belt, man. And I think if he did that, and had the success that we saw Grealish have in Notts County, that we saw young Jacob Ramsey have the other night for Doncaster, that Cal O'Hare's having Cal O'Hare is loved by those Coventry fans.
He's so good, mate.
They think he's amazing. And you can't help but feel for Keinan that he deserves that opportunity to go and be the main man for a club in the Championship, because I think he would start to score goals. And I think once we got him back from that loan, we'd see such a great player, and one that is certainly worthy of a deal with a Premier League club that we're about to give him. But because of the situation that we're in, because of the injuries that we've had, we haven't been able to give him that. And he must be watching these young lads go out on loan. And I know he's paying for the Villa, and that's a privilege all in itself. But I imagine he'd like a similar opportunity.
I think so, and especially looking at Green had an unsuccessful loan spell with Preston, cut that short. He's gone to Charlton. He's played 2 games as a centre forward and scored 2 goals. I mean, make of that what you will,
mate.
Yeah.
Mitch Clark, obviously,
what a guy! Shout out to Mitch.
Absolutely, the Port Vale fans are massively keen on him, and it just goes to show that we do have, the whole process of these new owners, and Dean has said it so many times, is we want to have one of, if not the best academy in the country, and you see these players come through. And the likes of Louis Barry, who I saw in his interview, wants to make the first team by the end of the season. There's no reason why he can't. He played for the under-23s and scored on his debut.
Yeah.
This lad's 16, for Christ's sake. He's scoring in under-23s games.
Yeah.
And
7 age groups above.
Mental. This. We see these players come through, and we do have such a fantastic attitude, I think, in a lot of these young players who seemingly relish these opportunities to go out on loan. I mean, Grealish consistently says it's the most important year of his career, that year he spent on Notts County, and I don't think he'd be the same player he is today if he didn't have that opportunity. And I would love to see someone like Keinan gifted that chance.
It would be nice. He needs to score goals, man. I love Keinan, but you can only defend a striker who can't score goals for so long, can't you?
I think it's 40 games for the Villa now. Not many of them starts with 3 goals.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because players, you can bring up that stat line, but as you say, he's such a great player, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help when you look at other young players, and I'm by no means comparing him to Mason Greenwood, but I believe he's got like 7 goals for United this season. there's levels to it, isn't there? You've got to play frequently.
Absolutely.
And the Championship probably is about Keinan's level. To be fair, there's there's no reason why he can't make the step up. And I think he's such a throwback centre forward, isn't he? He's a very old fashioned sort of will hold up the ball, not the quickest. But
suits that division.
Yeah, definitely. And he bring he countless pre-assists, I want to say, he created in the Championship when he emerged on the scene and was the only fit striker we had. There's a bit of a theme here, isn't there, Dan? But he was, there was so many. The Norwich game was his dad. I think
that was his first game.
His first game that season, and Zimmerman and I can't remember the name of the other centre half. They didn't know what had hit them, and that's what I think. If Keinan was fit, obviously he, we're talking about him potentially going out on loan. Teams don't scout Keinan Davis. Do they?
This is very true.
He's
a very good point.
He's an unknown quantity for now, and that's why he did so well against Norwich. And when you're chasing a game and you need to change something up, put Keinan Davis on. He roughed up Soyuncu and Evans when he came on against Leicester. He gave Ake and I can't remember it was Daniels a bit of a go as well when he came on. Because with no disrespect meant at all, because I love you, Keinan, but who are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who are you to Manchester City? Who are you to Liverpool? You're just an academy lad. Yeah. There's 3 goals to judge you off, man, and one of them was against Peterborough.
Yeah, Peterborough, Barnsley, and what was the last one? I can't remember.
Was it Norwich?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
that was the birth of Kiernan Van Nistelrooy. That Peterborough in the cup.
Yeah, I still.
That was a great goal.
Yeah, I still don't think you've forgiven him for the fact that we drove all the way down to Brighton and he didn't give you a goal on that day.
It was on a plate. On a plate, man. Keinan, if you're listening somehow, I mean, like, you gotta do us a solid. I've been by your side for so long. He's a nice, he's a nice kid as well. Yeah. Like, I've met him a few times, like, outside the ground. He's a really, really nice kid, and it's people like that who you want to do well at the club. It really is.
Yeah, and he's really good technically. I mean, we saw him. I think he played as a winger for Biggleswade.
Yeah, and I find that hard to believe, to be honest.
Strange.
Yeah,
but he's got that technical ability, and as you're right, he is an unknown quantity because all it takes is a quick search for his name, and you think, right, they've signed him from Biggleswade Town, and he scored 3 goals in 40 games. We haven't got a thing to worry about. But I've had a lot of mates. A couple who went to the Carabao Cup game against Leicester who aren't Villa fans. That went to watch that game and said, Keinan, when he came on, is a problem. Teams don't really know what to expect from him.
Shout out to Scott.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scott.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. Shout out.
Pitch invaded as well, the madman.
He got on the pitch.
I know.
No way.
I know, but they don't do that with Rangers. And so, but yeah, it was. He's a good player, and it's unfortunate for him that he is made of paper mache, because otherwise I think we'd have a consistent striker and one that, especially considering we've been struggling for goals this season, could really make us a claim for playing a lot of football.
He's unfortunate, isn't he, in the sense that every time an opportunity like this comes, he always gets injured. Like, he's been the only fit striker at Villa like 3 times now, and then he's gone and got himself injured. It's a shame, but we're rooting for you, Keinan. We really are here at the Villa Fair.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I was so sad he didn't score at Brighton, mate.
Yeah, I know. It was good.
I don't think it portrayed in the video, but I was.
He was genuinely devastated.
I was good. I mean, we were atting him on Instagram, weren't we? Afterwards, in the car back.
Yeah,
but
I don't know what the severity of the injury is. I don't know how long.
Well, I think the press conference is tomorrow. So by the time you've watched this, you can let us know in the comments, guys. What the deal is with Keinan. I'm sure we'll know, but let us know anyway. We need the engagement. It's great. We like hearing from you guys. Had a few nice comments on the last podcast, Dan.
Yeah, this is something I want to touch on. Especially the guy that doesn't get. I think he lives in Italy.
Yeah.
Couldn't get. I don't know if you're watching again, my man. But thank you very much. And that's what we do this for, mate. And it really brings it home, mate. The last podcast was a really positive one. It was the first one here with all this new stuff, and it felt like. Even this one with the Bournemouth game not as good. I want to touch on Spurs in a moment and the next game, and I'm actually going to be quite positive about that. This is what we do it for, mate. Isn't it?
It is, mate. It's great.
Like so
made my day, and the podcast did all right for views as well. I mean, not that we judge it off that, but the pod usually gets around 200, but we broke past 300 the other day, so that was nice.
Especially when we hadn't done it in a while.
Yeah,
been a minute,
the return. Yeah.
So and but just going on to Spurs, mate. I had a feeling before the Leicester game that we were going to go through. And I don't know why. There was no logic to it. Every statistic, every measurable aspect of that game told you Leicester were going to get to Wembley, but I just had a funny feeling that we were going to get a result. And I have the same feeling ahead of this Spurs game.
Put your life savings on a Villa win, guys.
Here you go, guys. Here you are. The gut instinct's back. Say what you want. I'm going to start on this piece talking about Odion Ighalo. And it will make sense, trust me. So everyone gave Man United a lot of stick for signing Odion Ighalo. Rightly so. But they addressed the issue that they needed a striker. Spurs had that same issue without Harry Kane. They need a striker, and they haven't addressed the issue. They've bought Steven Bergwijn, who can play as a 9.
What a goal, by
Scored
the way.
a great goal at the weekend. He's a great player, but he's a winger. He's not an out-and-out number 9. And so at least United addressed that problem. Spurs now have a team, and it's why it works very effectively against Manchester City, that is built up to be devastating on the counter-attack.
Oh, yeah.
But when they're dominating the ball, and when you're playing against teams like Villa who are going to sit back and let Spurs, play their football, and who they can't counter-attack against, they're going to face problems, mate. When they haven't got the Mourinho striker that he so likes to have, you only have to look at the strikers that he's had throughout the years, and there's a very similar profile in there. You look even as far back as the likes of Milito, Benzema.
I feel like people forget about Milito, mate.
Yeah, there's a very, and Kane fits the mould as well.
Yeah.
He's a very similar striker, and he doesn't have that available to him. And they're going to struggle against sides which, in which they're the team that is expected to play football. It was a fluky result against Manchester City.
That was a weird game, mate, wasn't it?
Really was.
Penalties and...
I was looking at the XG, and Spurs' expected goals is about 0.2, 0.3, and City's was 3.1.
That's crazy, isn't
and
it?
they won the game 2-0.
Yeah.
And so it's a very fortunate... I'm not going to say...
Dean will be triggered by that. He loves his XG.
Absolutely, he will, won't he? And so, it's one of those where I think they are going to find it hard. I think... Samatta looks like a really good player, and I think he's going to get better by the game. Hopefully, we see a little bit of Borja Baston, because he's another unknown quantity that I don't think a lot of sides are going to be prepared for. I don't know too much myself about exactly what he's got to offer. I know he's had some good seasons. I think he was nominated for Championship Player of the Month earlier this season.
Yeah, he scored like 3 goals in 4 games. I know a few Swansea fans, and I got a lot of stick for putting this on Twitter. The general consensus, because as you do, you believe everything you read on Twitter, was Borja Baston was shit.
Yeah.
Pardon my language. But it's why are we slating a player before we've even seen him kick a ball? That's the thing.
He costs us nothing.
Exactly, he's free, and we need a striker. Watch Samatta get injured at Spurs. Yeah. Then you'll be laughing when he scores the goal to save us at West Ham away. Do you know what I mean? We're so fickle, man.
When he's free, he's cost us nothing. He's scored. He's had a good record.
He won't be on a lot of money.
No, he won't be. And mate, like he's look, if he comes in and scores a goal or gets a assist for free in this league, that's absolutely worth it, and I'd make that transfer every single day of the week. If he brings us, considering how hard we found goals to come across at points this season, if he just contributes, whether it be him putting the ball away or just him getting a flick on and someone gets it, there in that moment, the transfer is worth it, because one goal could be so vital, so vital at the moment. So yeah, I'm excited to see what Borja's got to offer. He seems again to there seems to be a profile in striker that Dean's looking for. Borja is a presence. He's another hold-up striker that I think is contrasting Samatta, and it would be interesting to see what he's got to offer. And under the lights, hopefully something can happen.
Under the light, I mean, it's the only time it happens.
Can we play every game at 7:30?
Yeah, let's just try and change
that.
Well, I think if there's enough interest from Tanzania, Sky have to broadcast it, right? 4.2 million.
That was crazy. We got to give a big, because I feel like slowly but surely with the Egyptian link up that we've got going on with the Ghana Lions, with
we're taking over Africa,
Nakamba coming in from Zimbabwe, and now Sama from Tanzania. The whole of Africa is going to be claret and blue before we know it,
mate. The thing is, I think of how many genuinely world-class African players there are.
Right, no, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
isn't it?
but and they don't get the respect they deserve. But just Africa's so big. There's got to be so many. I was saying to my dad the other day. There's got to be so many ballers just like slumming it out in like Tanzania or so. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
100%.
Like it's an untapped gold mine.
Well, this is what a lot is made nowadays of tapping into the Premier League markets in Asia and in America. But man,
it's a part of the culture.
You've seen the love that these guys have got for Premier League football. I mean, I watched that Samatta's unveiling it and that first interview, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember watching Gabby."
Yeah,
and I was like,
Gabby,
this is mental.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's not something that Jack Woodward was like. Make sure you say this. That is not like a planned thing.
100%.
He knows who Gabby Egbolahor is.
It's crazy, and you saw it, and he had to put that message out on his socials, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just basically, Tanzania have now come in. They were like, well, Aston Villa have got to win the league. They've got Samatta. What are all these crap players that he's playing around? They must have watched that Bournemouth game and gone, well, this isn't good enough. And so the whole of a nation got on every single player's back. And Samatta had to release a statement where he's like, guys, please be nice to these guys.
I've only just met them.
And automatically he's brought a nation, a whole army with him. And it's brilliant, mate. I absolutely love it. And you, it's a genuinely important market. And, you know, I remember saying to you when Samatta signed that, from just a financial perspective in terms of marketing and growing the brand, which is such an important factor of this ownership and is why I think Christian Purslow is currently our chief executive, is what he's able to do in that regard. It's fantastic that we're seeing the support on this level, and it's just yet another element of what makes this club so brilliant. And I absolutely love it, to be honest with you, mate. And we're going to need every ounce of positivity that we can inject into this club in this run. And I think
definitely
the millions of Africans that are pulling on their claret and blue kits, as we do.
The Ghana Lions are mad, mate. That's my favourite YouTube channel.
Yeah, like, for real. Those guys are nuts.
It's crazy. Like not even like taking the piss. Like they're like it's. Like, I mean, Villa means so much to us, but man, I'd say they love it even more than us.
Yeah, no, they do, mate. A whole village comes out. It's absolutely crazy. You're watching like 40, 50-year-old. You watch the videos that they put up on YouTube and on Twitter and stuff like that, and there's like 40, 50-year-old African women running around with tops of Petrov 19 on the back, and you think, this is
what's going on?
Crazy. Yeah. But yeah, no.
And there's always that one random bloke donning the Ronaldo Juventus jersey. Shout out to him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's having none of it, and quite rightly so. I wouldn't be supporting the Villa if I had a choice.
He's trying to grow out a man bun.
So yeah, mate. But it's absolutely great, and I think Jack donated some money to them a little while ago. I think they've got a GoFundMe. I think Jack himself gave about 1.5k. But those guys, we got to get them to Villa Park. They've got to come over and they've got to do something.
I don't know. Ryan is probably working on something like that.
We have to do something with those guys because they're absolutely gold. And hopefully we can rack up some interest and get some of them following the Villa film, mate.
Mate, if we could get the Tanzanians on the podcast, that'd be mad. Do you know what I think if we hit 2,000 subscribers, I think we need to do a Samatta shirt giveaway.
Oh yes, there we go.
Before the end of the season.
I love that. I'm firmly expecting 4.2 million views for this episode.
Yeah.
No doubt.
This is where we take off.
I'll be disappointed with anything else, guys. But yeah, no, brilliant, mate. And yeah, as I said, it's positive, and I'm feeling good going into the next game. It's a tough run of games we've got now, but I was looking at West Ham's fixtures that they've got kind of solid, mate. And everyone kind of looks at West Ham, and you look at the squad, and this is one thing I want to point out is that everyone kind of goes, they've got Felipe Anderson, and they can't get on. They've got Felipe Anderson. He scored a goal. A goal this season,
just the one.
And so
was it against us?
Yeah, it was.
That says everything. They've got Felipe Anderson,
and so they're struggling, and they have that run of games against us. And you think whereby we watched Norwich give Spurs a game the other week. We watched Southampton give Spurs a real game the other week. These are clubs in and around us that have have really given this team problems, and we perform better against these top sides.
No, we
I
have,
think, across the season. So
we can't rely on that to keep us up, though.
Absolutely.
You have to beat the teams around you.
We do, and unfortunately, we haven't done a very good job of that recently. Well, throughout the season, to be honest with you, and that's probably been our downfall. But I'm looking forward to that Spurs game. I booked my travel to Wembley as well the other day. Yep. So looking forward to that. That's all booked in. I'm taking my little sister.
Oh, nice.
So nice touch.
Have you got your ticket yet? Or?
I do. Well, not yet. But no. I mean, hoping I meet the criteria.
That was a whole other fiasco, wasn't it? You know, we're not even going to go into ticket gate. I think that's a nice note to end the podcast on. Then.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just got to end up with one last thing. I think, mate. And I was in the taxi here on the way here, and I did the routine #AVFC Twitter search.
Of course.
And the Punjabi Villains put out a tweet of 2 photos of the green when we left it. Yeah. And you can't see. You wouldn't know it was the green for the bottles and the beers and everything like that, and it looked terrible, to be honest with you. I didn't realise that was the case, and so they put out this thing, and it was like, we got the best fans in the land. Let's prove it. Let's try and keep that place looking slightly respectable when we leave it. And I thought that was a really good note to touch on. I think if we we saw how much respect the Japan fans got in that World Cup game when they cleaned up after themselves, and I think if we could do something similar, just be slightly conscientious of that. And I thought that was a pretty nice note to touch on.
Let's not trash any buses as well. I mean, that was just
we do have such a great fan base, and I think stuff like that highlights it. And I like that. So shout out to Punjabi Villains. I think it was #Clean Carabao Cup.
There we go. Get it trending.
There you go.
It's been great talking to you, Dan, again, and I'm ssure the viewers and listeners will enjoy hearing this quality.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
not necessarily us, but what we're saying, but the word, it sounds nice.
It really does, mate. And this is something that we can do weekly now.
Yeah.
As I said, I came in today, and this was all set up for us.
Shout out to Mike, seriously, what a guy.
For real.
He's a real one.
And so it's feeling good. Hopefully, we can get this out weekly. The views are great, the following's growing, and as you said, that's not the reason that we do this. Whether we get 1 view or 1,000 views, I'd still do this podcast every week. I really enjoy it, and for those comments that got dropped the other day, if you're listening from a place and you can't get to Villa Park and you engage with not just us but the other Villa YouTube channels and the socials as your means of interacting with the club, then drop us a comment.
Let us know.
Exactly, because this is what we do it for, man. And it's great to read stuff like that. And as I said, when it is a little bit doom and gloom and stuff like that on Villa socials, it's nice to see things.
It is, yeah. So if there's anything you guys want us to talk about as well, we're more than happy to do that. So let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, say comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more. We're growing nicely. If we can get to 2,000, we'll do a Samatta shirt giveaway. Yeah, we'll sort that out.
Tanzanian is on its way.
Do it. Up the Villa.
Chest is essential to fulfilling this got potential. It's a main man, a hero. He's the main leader of the gang. Chester. He's the main leader of the gang now.